I'm 73 years old and people ask me all the time, aren't you lonely? Don't you want someone? What about companionship? So I tried. At 70, I got a boyfriend. Everyone said, how wonderful. You deserve companionship. It's never too late for love. But here's what nobody tells you. I was lonelier with him than I ever was alone. My husband passed when I was 68. Cancer. 6 months from diagnosis to the end. Those first 2 years after were hard. The house felt too big. Sundays were the worst. We used to make breakfast together, read the paper, just sit quietly. Without him, Sundays felt like punishment. Slowly I found a rhythm. I joined a woodworking class at the community center, started having coffee with a few ladies from church on Tuesdays, learned to cook more than scrambled eggs. It wasn't the life I'd planned, but it was mine. Then my daughter started worrying. Mom, you need to meet someone. I told her, I'm fine. She said, you're alone all the time. I tried to explain that alone isn't the same as lonely, but no one wanted to hear it. My friends didn't either. At church, Susan said, you're too young to give up. And slowly I started believing them. Maybe something was wrong with me. Maybe I was scared. So I tried a dating website. It took me 3 days to upload a photo and a week to write a profile. When the messages started coming in, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Wanted. That's how I met Larry. A widower with a nice smile. He laughed at my jokes, asked about my woodworking, seemed interested. After 2 months, we met for coffee. Driving home, I thought maybe everyone was right. The first few months were good. Dinners once or twice a week, cheap matinee movies, walks when the weather was nice. It felt normal. Then small things changed. He started calling in the morning, at lunch, before bed. At first it felt sweet. Then it felt heavy. If I didn't answer, he'd call again. Then text. One Tuesday, I was having coffee with friends. My phone kept buzzing. When I called back an hour later, he was upset. I felt guilty for doing nothing wrong. On weekends, he wanted plans every Saturday. If I wanted to stay home, he'd say, don't you want to see me? So I stopped saying no. Here's what nobody talks about. When you're older and dating, people expect you to be grateful. So when you need space, you feel selfish. About 6 months in, I noticed something. Every time his name appeared on my phone, my body tensed. One night he called at 10:30. I was in bed, book open, glasses on. Nothing was wrong. He just wanted to talk. We stayed on the phone nearly 2 hours. When I hung up, I wasn't just tired. I felt drained. The next morning, my friend invited me fishing. I wanted to go, but I knew Larry would want to come, and it wouldn't be peaceful. So I said no. That night, sitting alone in my house, I realized my life wasn't mine anymore. Then there was money. I live on Social Security and a small pension. I'm careful, but dinners, gas, gifts, a weekend trip I couldn't afford, it added up. I lay awake doing math in my head, and energy. At 73, I have limits. I need rest. Larry didn't understand. He compared me to other women my age, like I wasn't trying hard enough. 8 months in, he started talking about moving in together. My house, my memories, my silence. I felt panic, not excitement. I broke up with him the next week. He cried, then he got angry, said I wasted his time. For a while, I felt terrible. My daughter was disappointed. My friends didn't understand. But slowly something shifted. I woke up one morning and thought, what do I want to do today? I went fishing again, returned to my class, had quiet evenings without guilt. I wasn't lonely. I was peaceful. Here's what I learned. Being alone and being lonely are not the same. With Larry, I was never alone, but I was lonely because I couldn't be myself. I was constantly adjusting, constantly afraid of disappointing him. That's a different kind of loneliness. It's been 3 years. I haven't dated again. Not because I'm bitter, but because I understand now. I got into a relationship out of fear, not loneliness. Fear of judgment, fear of failing. Now I wake up at 6, make my coffee strong with a little cream, and live my days on my terms. I don't explain myself. I don't manage someone else's emotions. My daughter finally said, Mom, you seem happier. She's right, I am. If you're in a relationship that drains you, you're allowed to leave. even at 70, even at 80. And if you're alone and people pressure you, you're allowed to say no. Your own company is enough. Peace is more valuable than companionship built on fear. I'm 73. I live alone. And I'm happier than I've been in years. That's not sad. That's wisdom.